Is it your message that countries in Africa need now to be given massive sort of financial recompense for not, for example, deforesting their extraordinary natural assets? I'm thinking of a country like Democratic Republic of Congo, which has vast forests.
Yeah, in fact, if you take a look at Africa today, that Congo basin that you're talking about just now is the second only to Amazon in terms of the carbon lungs for the world. And so Africa is providing the global public goods for which it's not paid for. Basically, you have vast carbon sinks, you have vast forests, you have biodiversity. But Africa is nature-rich, but cash-poor.
But how do you get people to listen to this message?
Well, let me tell you what we're doing about it. What we're saying, we're not going to be doing that anymore. If you take what got us to all the mess that we're all dealing with globally today, it's because of the way we measure wealth. We measure wealth by saying gross domestic product, value of goods and services that an economy produces. But who really cares? Because that doesn't tell you anything about the technology used to do it, the externalities for it, and who internalizes the externalities. In the case of Africa, we have all these forests, and we said we're going to have to revalue and rebase the GDP of Africa based on its natural capital stock. And why is that important?
So you basically take these forests and say, this is real wealth. And
yes.
It has to be recognized,
Absolutely.
and therefore you have to give us the credit that comes with having that asset.
Yes, Steve. And the thing is, if you take a look at the debt to GDP ratio, which is the measure that we use to determine whether your debt is sustainable or not, if you rebase your GDP based on your natural capital stock, your debt to GDP ratio falls.
No, I understand that.
But I want
it's easier for you to borrow money, which is where you and the ADB come in. I get all that, but isn't there an element of blackmail to this? Because the underlying message seems to be, yes, we are custodians of this vast natural asset, call it a carbon sink. And the message is, if you don't recognize that and recognize it as part of our asset base, our wealth, and loan to us accordingly, we will exploit it. We'll mine it. We'll deforest it.
No. You see, the coming from it's not anything about exploitation. It's about being wise and valuing yourself properly. Just like if you and I go to a commercial bank and you're trying to value your assets. All we're saying is we want African economies to develop going green. But in growing green, the proper valuation of the natural capital of Africa, it's very, very important. So Africa stops being nature rich and cash poor.